Welcome to VNN News. I'm Eva with today's top story. A high-stakes summit in Brazil has just concluded. And while the BRICS group of emerging economies condemned rising tariffs and foreign aggression, much of the world was watching what wasn't said just as closely. As the Middle East burns and trade tensions rise, the BRICS nations are pushing back, but without directly naming their biggest adversary. U.S. President Donald Trump. Over the weekend, leaders from the BRICS bloc, which now includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa and several new members like Iran, Egypt, and the UAE, met in Rio de Janeiro to discuss the shifting balance of global power. The meeting took a firm stance against what it called a dangerous rise in tariffs and unilateral military actions, particularly the recent attacks on Iran, yet notably, the group's official declaration avoided directly naming the United States or Israel. President Lula da Silva, Brazil's host for the summit, opened the gathering with a jab at NATO's military spending plans, stating, "It is always easier to invest in war than in peace." The declaration also criticized aggressive trade restrictions that BRICS says threaten global supply chains and violate WTO rules. Again, no country was named, but the message was clear. This was a response to Trump's renewed economic pressure on emerging economies. Two major absences shaped the summit's tone. China's President Xi Jinping skipped the event entirely for the first time since taking power, while Russia's President Vladimir Putin addressed attendees via video link from Moscow due to his international arrest warrant. Still, the meeting went ahead, and Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araqi used the platform to blast the U.S. and Israel for what he called violations of international law. Iran, still recovering from June's military strikes, said the consequences of conflict will spread far beyond its borders. Interestingly, while the BRICS group expressed grave concern for Gaza and called for a two-state solution, Iran made it clear, both at the summit and later on Telegram, that it does not support such a plan, citing past failures. Russia, while mostly spared in the official declaration, issued its own separate message naming both the U.S. and Israel, denouncing what it called unprovoked military strikes. Despite the strong rhetoric, many observers say the summit revealed cracks in BRICS unity, with Egypt's president withdrawing and several countries sending lower-level officials. Critics argue the bloc is struggling to present a coherent global vision. According to experts, Brazil in particular is walking a tightrope, with Trump back in office and threatening 100% tariffs on BRICS nations that undermine the U.S. dollar. Lula's government reportedly chose to steer clear of the most sensitive topics, focusing instead on trade, health, and climate cooperation. The 31-page declaration mentioned Ukraine only once to condemn recent Ukrainian strikes on Russian territory, reflecting the bloc's reluctance to criticize Moscow. A founding member of BRICS, the BRICS summit showed ambition, but also uncertainty, caught between bold declarations and strategic silence, with Trump reshaping global trade and conflict intensifying in the Middle East. The road ahead for BRICS remains as complex as ever. For full global coverage and real updates, subscribe to VNN News.